Hello everyone and welcome to PendulumEdu, and in this session we're going to discuss an article to have a few words for you. The article that we've taken for today is Cess poll on CAG report of Centre's account. When I say CAG, it's Comptroller and Auditor General. This we are aware of the audit department of our country or Centre's accounts. Now, what is the CAG report of our Centre's account? Centre in terms of central government. What is the Cess pool? Cess, what does this word Cess mean? Cess is a noun which means a tax or a kind of a levy, duty levy. So it is in Hindi जिसे हम कहते हैं कर, ठीक है? That is Cess. So let's have a look what is the point about taxation or tax system that the writer wishes to highlight. The Centre must keep the faith of Parliament, states and the people and stop misusing Cess. So the writer wishes to say that the Centre needs to maintain the trust that the Parliament and the people and even the states they have in it. Instead of misusing the tax opportunities or the tax system, it should keep or maintain the faith or the trust that the people have in it. The latest audit of the Union government's accounts tabled in Parliament this week reveals that the Finance Ministry quietly retained over 40% of all cess collections in 2018 to 19 in the Consolidated Fund of India. Reveals the latest audit report which was shown or which was displayed in Parliament. It reveals, reveal is a verb which means to show or to bring in light. किसी चीज को सामने ले आना या किसी चीज को प्रकट करना, प्रकाशित करना, जारी करना. Okay, so the Finance Ministry what it has done is it has kept 40% of the cess in the Consolidated Fund section instead of utilizing it. As many as 35 different cesses, levies and charges yielded 2.75 lakh crore in the year, but just around 1.64 lakh crore was remitted to the specific reserve fund. Remit is to give or to give away, okay? To freely give away, okay? So was remitted to the specific reserve funds. Allot कितना किया था 1.64 लाख करोड़. पैसा कितना था 2.75 लाख करोड़. इतना yield हुआ था from the taxes, अलग अलग जो charges और taxes हैं उन सब से this Centre got this much, but it allocated only this much. It remitted to the specific reserve funds for which cesses were levied, जिसके लिए उनको लागू किया गया था, जिसके लिए charge किया गया था tax. वो इतना ही अमाउंट दिया गया जबकि आपने इतना अमाउंट वहां से हासिल किया है. This not only helped understate India's revenue. Understate is a verb which means it underplays. उसको insignificant समझता है. This not only helped understate India's revenue and fiscal deficit numbers, but also meant the purposes for which Parliament approved such cesses, be it health, education or infrastructure development, were not met. Number one, उन्होंने जो इंडिया का जो revenue है उसको underplay किया, understate किया. मतलब उसको to express that something is insignificant. Okay, किसी चीज को कम दर्शाना या कम आंकना. Okay, that is understate. आपने किसी चीज को underestimate किया तो firstly इंडिया का जो revenue और fiscal deficit numbers था उनको हमने low कर दिया, insignificant पहुंचा दिया. Secondly, जो भी जहां से भी सेस हमें जिन काम के लिए मिला था, अप्रूव हुआ था, हेल्थ सेक्टर वो कह रहे हैं, whether it's education, infrastructure, nothing was met, no need was met. The CAG of India has, not for the 7th time, urged the Finance Ministry to take immediate corrective action. Over 10 years, so CAG, not for the first time, this is not for the first time, ये पहली बार ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है, wherein CAG has to urge or push Finance Ministry or ask them to take corrective actions. To work on it, to do what was desired, and not to play with the amount received, or not to, I would say, ficker. Okay, what are they doing? They're trying to play with the amount. They're trying to carelessly manage it. Over 10 years, not a paisa of the 1.25 lakh crore of cess collected on crude oil was transferred to an oil industry development body it was meant to finance. 1.25 lakh crore. For 10 years, not even a single penny has been given to Oil Development Society or the development body. Not a single penny out of 1.25 lakh crore. This amount is still being unaccounted. There is no account where this amount is, why it wasn't transferred to the oil industry that is needed. Okay, there's no account for it until now. Moving ahead, part of the hefty cess. Hefty is an adjective which means heavy. Okay, or you can say something that is big. कहते हैं ना बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट हो, या बहुत ही बड़ा या मोटा जो रकम होती है. ओके, सो जो टैक्स की जो मोटी रकम थी, hefty cess collected as additional excise duties on petrol and diesel, ostensibly to finance roads and infrastructure. Ostensibly is an adverb, and ostensibly means, if I mention it, it's an adverb which means apparently. कहते हैं ना कथित तौर पर, हिंदी में हम कहते हैं कि ऐसा माना जाता है, मतलब उसको किसी सबूत की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती, कोई चीज जो मानी हुई है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सन राइजेस इन द ईस्ट अगर मैं कहती हूँ, दैट इज अपैरेंट दैट सन राइजेस इन द ईस्ट, लाइक आई डोंट हैव टू गिव एनी प्रूफ फॉर इट. गेटिंग माई पॉइंट. सिमिलरली कहते हैं जो अमाउंट था, पार्ट ऑफ द हेफ्टी सेस कलेक्टेड एज एन एक्साइज ऑन पेट्रोल एंड डीजल, ये रोड और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को फाइनेंस करना था, वो सिमिलरली रिटेन्ड इन एफसीआई. इसको भी कंसोलिडेटेड फंड में इसको भी रिटेन कर लिया और उसको रोड और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को फाइनेंस करने के लिए वो पैसा नहीं दिया गया. सो अगेन यहाँ पर भी एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम खड़ा होता है कि जो अमाउंट जिस चीज के लिए यूज होना चाहिए वो वहां तक क्यों नहीं पहुंच रहा है. The GST compensation cess, over which the center and several states have now locked horns. Locked horns. Now, to lock horn is a phrase. It is a phrase which means to engage in a conflict. To engage in a conflict, which means किसी झगड़े में पड़ना. झगड़े में पड़ना. Okay, that is to lock horn. To center or though कुछ states and several states, they have now locked horns over this point. जो GST compensation cess है, उनको वो amount चाहिए. Was not spared either. ये भी was not spared. It was not given. Spare is a verb which means to give away. जैसे remit होता है, मतलब किसी को अगर कोई चीज है तो उसको प्रदान करना. ठीक है. Either with 47,272 crore not remitted to its rightful account. Rightful is an adjective which means legit, right or legal. Okay, जो सही है जो चीज, तो सही अकाउंट में उसको ट्रांसफर नहीं किया गया for first 2 years of GST. ये अमाउंट भी पेंडिंग है. Worse, compensation cess transfers to states were accounted as grants and aid to states, distorting the center state's fiscal math. I'm going to wipe up the screen and then explain you the meaning. Distorting the fiscal state, center state's fiscal math. Distorting is a verb which means to misrepresent. Okay, क्या एक false representation देना, false representation, to give false representation. किसी चीज को अगर आप distort करते हो, उसके साथ छेड़खानी करते हो, उसे खराब कर रहे हैं, भाई उन्होंने क्या किया, जो अमाउंट जीएसटी का कॉम्पेंसेशन था, जो फंड था, वो उन्होंने ग्रांट्स एंड एड में शो कर दिया टू स्टेट्स. तो ये जो है, इसने तो जो अमाउंट, जो फिस्कल मैथ मतलब जो कि मॉनेटरी जो एक्सपेंसेस हैं या जो मॉनेटरी सेटलमेंट्स हैं सेंटर और स्टेट की, इनको पूरी तरह से हिला दिया, खराब कर दिया. मिस रिप्रेजेंटेशन है ये, तो आपने पैसा किसी चीज का है एंड यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग इट फॉर समथिंग एल्स. So this amount was not remitted and later it was given as, shown as grants and aid. So again, this is the reason why states are against center these time or these days. So a new 4% cess has come upon income tax, which was partly deployed towards means it was headed for coming into effect. तो भाई जब से वो इस्तेमाल में आएगा तो वो किसकी आधा जो हिस्सा है उसका किसको जाएगा, एजुकेशन. बट नो फंड वाज क्रेडिटेड फॉर हेल्थ और एजुकेशन सेस है, तो एजुकेशन को ही क्यों, हेल्थ को फिर से कुछ नहीं किया गया. Ditto with a social welfare surcharge levied on customs. Ditto means similar was done with a social welfare surcharge that was levied on customs. None of these lapses can be considered inadvertent. Inadvertent is an adjective which means accidental or by mistake. मतलब आप इसको एक कह नहीं सकते कि ये बाई चांस हो गया या ये एक तरीके की चूक है, ऐसा नहीं है, ये कोई चूक नहीं है. अगर एक के बाद एक सेम चीज हो रही है, इट इज नॉट एक्सीडेंटल और कोइंसिडेंटल, वो सोचा समझा स्टेप है. It is no secret that center's reliance on cesses and surcharges to raise revenue has increased significantly since the state's share of the divisible pool of taxes was raised to 42% in line with the 14th Finance Commission's suggestion. So see, pool of taxes have been raised to 42%. Now this is again a huge amount. And we all know that this is no hidden point or no secret that center depends a lot on these cesses and surcharges to raise the revenue and to actually express or showcase I would say the rise in revenue to the public. But if it is taking these steps, these I would say incorrigible or steps which are not viable or feasible for the state and other I would say organizations in our country, then center is at a big mistake. It is at a fault and it has to take corrective measures for the same. Moving ahead, it has been said, cess receipts are not part of this pool, and though it is arguable whether such levies are in sync with the nation trying to simplify its tax regime, their intended use to fund specific public spending needs serves as an acceptable rational logic. It's a noun. मतलब अगर आप इस फंड यूज करना चाहते हैं स्पेसिफिक पब्लिक स्पेंडिंग के लिए, तो वो एक लॉजिकल पॉइंट होना चाहिए. ये नहीं कि आप जो मर्जी चाहें, जैसे चाहें वैसे स्टेप्स ले. With a climate of distrust hovering over India's federal polity, डिस्ट्रस्ट आपको पता है कि जिसको ट्रस्ट पर ट्रस्ट ना, होवरिंग ओवर का मतलब है मंडराना. इट्स अ फ्रेजल वर्ब. होवर ओवर मतलब मंडराना. ओके, टू लिंगर, दैट इज होवर. इट्स अ वर्ब. इंडियाज फेडरल पॉलिटी, तो जो डिस्ट्रस्ट है, जो लोग उनको ट्रस्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो उनके ऊपर मंडरा रहा है. बी इट ओवर जीएसटी कॉम्पेंसेशन डिस्प्यूट or the passage of farm sector bills, and we are all aware कि अभी farm sector bills को लेकर farmers are on strike in Punjab, if you see other states. So here, चाहे whether we talk about GST or you consider farm sector bills, they are in a position where everyone is doubting them and nobody is trusting center. It is critical for the center to rebuild bridges. They have to actually come up with rebuilding bridges, which means they have to. This statement is just given to explain that they have to come up and अपना trust वापस से build करना पड़ेगा उनको. जो gap आ गया है, they have to fill that gap. Cesses, starting with the excise duties on petrol and diesel, need to be rationalized, even if just to provide succor to a citizenry whose incomes and job prospects have been pummeled by the pandemic and a shrinking economy. Now, they say first step होना चाहिए कि आप जो पेट्रोल डीजल पर हैं वो एक्साइज ड्यूटीज पर काम करें, उनको रैशनलाइज करें, और ये एक स्टेप होगा to provide succor. Succor is a help or aid in difficult times or difficult situation. ठीक है, मदद करना. So यहाँ पर हम किसकी मदद कर रहे हैं? उन लोगों की जिनके इनकम और जॉब प्रोस्पेक्ट्स pummel हो गए. Pummel, that means they have reduced. It's a verb. कम हो जाना. So जिनके जॉब प्रोस्पेक्ट्स और इनकम कम हो गई पैंडेमिक की वजह से और हमारी श्रिंकिंग इकोनॉमी की वजह से, उनको ही हेल्प करने के लिए चलिए कम से कम पेट्रोल और डीजल पर काम कर सकते हैं. Finally, absolute transparency is needed in the management of cess receipts so that Parliament and the people do not need to wait for audit findings to learn of this subterfuge. Subterfuge, Hindi में हम कहते हैं छल. Like this conspiracy or this illegal act. इसके बारे में उनको ना पता चले and उससे कुछ सीख जाए वो. This is what the writer says, that center needs to learn from it and has to work on this कि अब से ये छल ना हो, and they have to work in the right direction. So you see what all or what not is happening in our country. If we try to trust our government, there are these things that come up and bring a big question mark in front of us, like what next? Right? So this is an important point for all of us to know. Plus the vocabulary words that we've discussed, they are again important. And we're getting amazing response from your end, and we wish that we get the same response from end forever. We'll keep on working for this. I want you to work on the words that we've discussed today from this article. The list of the words, as I said, is right there on the site. The link is there in the description. Go get the link and start practicing these words. You will have synonyms and antonyms of these words right there, their Hindi and English meaning as explained. So there's nowhere else to go for this now. We are here to help you at PendulumEdu. Do not forget to hit the like button to the video and subscribe the channel for regular sessions with us. I will see you soon. Thank you.